and biosafety consortium.
While delivering his speech at the symposium organized by Uganda Biotechnology and Biosafety Consortium, UBBC, former Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development and current chair of National Union of Coffee, Agribusiness and Farm Enterprises, Dr. Gerald Sendawula, pointed out that Uganda's agricultural sector has a huge potential to transform people's livelihoods and the economy. The symposium focused on the role of research and technological innovations in fostering agricultural transformation and development in Uganda.
Commercialize innovations and educate entrepreneurs who can tap the enormous unexploited potential of agriculture for growth, job creation, wealth creation, and so on. In doing so, they would also encourage and support youth and women to take up career in primary agriculture and agricultural value chain business for the future of Uganda.
One of Uganda's principal agricultural scientists, Dr. Andrew Chigundu, expressed optimism about the role of biotechnology in resolving both crop and human diseases and urged the legislative arm of government to ensure that the country has a huge regulatory framework.
And biotechnology, we have been for many years trying to get a bill or an act of parliament to be passed and therefore to develop regulations. All new technologies that support livelihoods and human life require regulations, as the case is for gene technologies in crops, as the case is for gene technologies that will even be used for treating human diseases. So we are expecting that the government will now recognize the expanding value of gene therapy and therefore provide appropriate law that will cover the applications across all those sectors.
The Vice Chairperson, Private Sector Foundation Uganda, Victoria Sechitoleko, challenged government and Uganda's agricultural researchers to harness the power of science and ensure that the country is food secure despite of the challenges like climate change.
I'm really happy to see that there are young men and women who are ready to study to become biotechnology experts, basically because our country needs it. We are now going to celebrate 60 years of independence. But for me, independence equals sovereignty. Now, how can you be sovereign if everything you are using, COVID comes, you run to Europe, Ebola comes, you run to Europe, for nearly everything, if you are going to run next door, then you stop being the sovereign head. So I'm really happy that the biotechnology scientists have not given up.
Coffee wilt disease was here a few years ago. It wiped out the coffee industry, but the science were able to work using scientific knowledge to generate new varieties of coffee and even new methods of propagating coffee seedlings. That knowledge cannot be taken for granted. But when you see when people are already enjoying the benefits, they take the science for granted. But someone's knowledge, a scientist, has generated those varieties. So the same applies to these other crops where cassava mosaic disease, Uganda loses several billions in terms of diseases of crops, in terms of East Coast fever in cattle occasioned by the ticks. But the science are telling you they have discovered, they have invented or they have generated vaccines for ticks and tick vaccines. So we need a law to guide them on how they are going to test them and eventually they can be used by farmers.
The agricultural sector in Uganda is held high because it is viewed as an important aspect in transforming the country.